What's your English level? Let's take this test and find out. I'll ask you 25 questions. You keep score, and at the end, I'll tell you whether you're at basic, intermediate, advanced, or exceptional proficiency. This test is unique because not only does it have English proficiency questions, but it also mixes in some bonus IQ critical reasoning questions at the end. And here's the kicker. Less than 5% of native English speakers would be able to score a perfect 25 or even a 24. So if you're a native English speaker, you probably will not score perfect on this test. Employers use this test on higherbasis.com to assess remote workers' English proficiency and critical reasoning skills. And you can create a profile on HigherBasis as well to take the official skills test and showcase your English proficiency on your profile as well as a variety of your skills to thousands of employers and also search from thousands of jobs on HigherBasis. So let's get started. Note that this test has 3 types of questions. We start with a few reading comprehension questions, and then we move on to fill-in-the-blank vocabulary test questions. And finally, progressively more difficult critical reasoning questions, which is where you're going to be tested on how well you can spot logical relationships between terms. These are all multiple choice questions. I'll read the question, you can pause the video, and then I'll explain what the correct answer is. So keep score, and at the end, I'll tell you your official level. Let's get started and take the test. All right, so starting off with the first question. Dear Jane, Dad's leaving really early tomorrow, so could you wake me at 7 when you leave for work? I must not be late for university again. Paul. Pause the video. And the correct answer is Paul would like Jane to do him a favor tomorrow morning. That's obviously the correct answer because he's asking Jane to wake him up at 7, which is clearly a favor. It's not to schedule something, and he's never asked her for a ride. So the only answer that correctly captures what he's trying to do is asking for a favor. Let's go on to the next question. Free copies of advertisements on this board are available from the Career Center. Which of the following is correct? The Career Center will give you a copy of any advertisements on this board. It's about copies of ads, not free advertising, not their own work. The Career Center will give you copies of the ad from the board. So that's the correct answer. It's just a paraphrase of what the original passage is saying. Question 3, Rachel, for our holiday, you need to get a photo for your visa and let me have it. I've got the visa forms so I can post them. Adam. Adam is telling Rachel to The answer is give him something. Adam has already got the forms and is taking care of mailing. The only thing Rachel needs to do is give him a photo. That's the missing piece. Going on to the next question. The bullet train departs from platform 8 every 8 minutes during the day and every 30 minutes at night. Question, which of the following is correct? The correct answer is the train service to the airport runs 24 hours a day. The answer where it says 15 minutes past the hour is incorrect because that's implying it's going once per hour, not every 15 minutes. And half an hour only applies at night, so the other answer is incorrect. All right, now we're going to move on to type B questions where we fill in the blanks. Though we always turn right, I often blank what's down the other road. The answer? Wonder. I often wonder is the natural collocation when you're curious. Fear and care don't fit the meaning, and insist doesn't work in this context. 2 ferries blank today in the main harbor, but there were no injuries. The correct answer? Collided. When 2 ferries hit each other, we say they collided. Smashed and crashed are too informal. Hit is too simple. Collided is the precise term. We decided to blank the premium 2000 computer system. It's too old now. What's the correct answer? Discard. To discard means to get rid of something that's no longer useful. Veto means to reject formally, and reject is about refusing, and throw away is too casual. Discard matches the system, is being retired. Next question, we have to walk down 3 flights of stairs just to get rid of our rubbish. What and blank? Answer, inconvenience. Having to walk down the stairs for trash is an inconvenience, something annoying. Imposition is close, but it usually means burden on others. Anxiety and interference don't fit. Next question, you've been blank from the competition because we've discovered you cheated. Answer, eliminated. Competitions eliminate people for cheating. Lost and failed describes results, not disqualification. Beaten means defeated by an opponent, not removed for cheating. Next question. My mother would like to consider herself blank, but I think even she would be shocked if we took her to see that film. Answer, broad-minded. A broad-minded person is open to new or shocking ideas. Independent and stubborn don't really fit here and relate to tolerance, and well-behaved is about manners. Question 11. A new type of transistor radio has been blank by South African electrical engineers. Answer, developed. Engineers develop a new product. Discovered and found suggested already existed. Looked into means investigate, not invent. And developed is the correct word for invention. Now we're going more difficult. Fill in the blanks. The team threw on all their substitutes in the last 5 minutes, all to no blank, as they lost the game by 3 points. Answer, avail. The phrase is to no avail, meaning that it didn't work. The others, benefit, use, gain, don't match the fixed expression. Next question. The blank of winter brings reports of people getting caught out by inclement weather when they least expected it. Answer, onset. The onset of winter is the standard collocation, meaning the start. Onslaught means attack, and starting or early don't work as nouns here. Next question. There is no chance of you getting the promotion after only 2 months working here. Blank, the great work you have done. Notwithstanding is the answer. Notwithstanding means despite. So means despite the great work, and nevertheless means however, which doesn't fit. So the other answers also don't grammatically fit. 15. There will be 1 general meeting per month. Blank the usual section meetings every week. Answer, besides. Besides means in addition to. The meeting will happen in addition to the weekly ones. As well and moreover don't fit grammatically, and apart suggests separation. Question 16. You might have failed twice, but I think you should blank, and you will eventually succeed. Answer, persevere. To persevere means to keep trying despite failure. Prevail means succeed over opponents. Insist means demand, and persuasive is about convincing. Only persevere makes sense. Question 17. The spacecraft blank into space and then spent 3 days getting to the moon. Options? Correct answer is blasted. Spacecrafts blast off. Threw and hurled are incorrect. And orbited is something it does later, not at launch. Blasted is correct. Question 18. The sales department was blank with complaints after the faulty washing machine went on sale nationwide. Answer, flooded. When departments get overwhelmed with complaints, we say they were flooded. Sieged and attacked are military terms. Wetted just doesn't work. Flooded is the correct idiom. Now we move on to analogies, my favorite. So question 19. Bandages are to blood as... What's the correct answer? The correct answer is dams are to lakes. See, bandages stop blood flow, and dams stop water flow. The relationship is prevention. The other pairs don't fit that logic. So let's go on to the next question. Question 20. Computer is to email as, answer. Phone is to calls. You see, this relationship is tool and function. A computer is the tool and the function is sending an email. The phone makes calls. So the other ones don't have this material relationship reflected, and they're incorrect. Next question. Gush is to drip as, answer. Destroy is to bend. Because both pairs contrast intensity. Gush versus drip, strong versus weak, destroy versus bend, total versus partial damage. The other two do not connect like that. Next question. Timid is to shy as, answer. Timid and shy are synonyms. So the answer is lazy is to undependable, because lazy implies being undependable. The others don't form that synonym pair. So let's go to the next question. Cantankerous is to happy as, answer. Plant is to animal. See, cantankerous means bad-tempered, which is not happy, or even the opposite of happy to a degree. And plant and animal are kind of opposite categories, or a plant is definitely not an animal. So the others don't show such an opposition. Let's go to the next question. Question 24. Change is to invariable as, answer. Compromise is to stubborn. You see, change versus an invariable are also opposites. So compromise versus stubborn are also opposites, and the others just don't work. Next question. Ridiculous is to absurd as, answer. Emaciated is to thin. You see, ridiculous and absurd are synonyms. Emaciated and thin are synonyms, with one being stronger, and the other pairs just don't work. All right, so that is the test. Now add up your total score. Here's what your results mean. If you got 0 to 13, your English level is at A1, A2. You can, if you're at the higher level of this, handle simple and familiar communication, but you'll miss some nuance and complex structures. If you're on the lower half of 0 to 13, you're probably at a level where you're unable to effectively or properly communicate where you'll be understood. 14 to 17 is intermediate. You can handle most everyday communications, though you'll still show some gaps in grammar, collocations, and precision. This is kind of like a high school level of English, or even community college you can get by. Then 18 to 21 means you're at C1, C2, native English level. You have a strong command of English, and it's suitable for professional as well as academic contexts. This level of English is fine for university. And then finally, we have exceptional C2+. You're in the top 10% of test takers. And if you got a perfect 25, you're easily above the top 5% and amongst those who are native English speakers. And you combine English mastery with strong critical reasoning skills. So that's it. That's the test. And if you got perfect, big congrats. And remember, what you took was a free sample test on higherbasis.com. On Higherbasis, you can take the full randomized version of this assessment and get a verified English and critical reasoning score and share your results with employers. This isn't just practice. It's the same style of test companies use as a pre-employment screening tool when hiring people for remote jobs. So when you're there, you can also build a profile with your skills and salary expectations, get discovered by employers who are searching the database, and browse thousands of remote jobs every month. So if you want to prove your skills, stand out to employers, and land your next remote jobs, head to higherbasis.com and take the full test today.